You've been taught to chase, to fix the reflection, not the cause. You try to change what's showing up out there, forgetting the whole time that the 3D world is only ever a mirror, a reflection. It doesn't create, it reflects. In this video, I'm breaking down why and how manifesting works through the mirror principle. The real mechanics behind Neville's "the world is yourself pushed out," and how to finally change the reflection by shifting the only thing that's actually real, which is your inner state of being. If you're new here, hello, I am your Muse, Traci. On this channel, I teach manifestation the Neville Goddard way, helping you peel back the false layers of programming so that you can remember your true power, your true essence, and wake up each morning knowing that you are the powerful creator of your reality. So let's get into it straight away. And let's start here. Everything you see in your 3D world, the people, the circumstances, the events, are simply mirrors reflecting the contents of your own consciousness. Now, I know this isn't a new idea in the manifesting space, but I'm really going to get technical and break this down to explain exactly what it is and how to understand how to use it in this video. So Neville said, the world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. That means the argument you had, the delays you experienced, the compliment you received, they're all feedback loops. They're just mirrors showing you. But where most people get stuck is they look at the reflection and they dislike what they see. And then they try to manually fix the mirror, trying to change circumstances, to chase people, to rearrange the outer world without realizing the reflection cannot change until the source or the cause does. It's just like the mirror you stand in front of in your bathroom. It's no different. So just like trying to make a mirror smile without smiling yourself, it's never going to happen. You can yell and you can plead with the mirror all you want, but the only way to make the reflection smile is to just go ahead and smile yourself. So how does this work? How does this actually work in your day-to-day life? Your consciousness, your assumptions, your beliefs, your dominant inner conversations, they're all the projector. Your 3D reality is the projection. The mirror principle is simply law in action. There's no bias here. There's no, oh, I liked that expression. I didn't like this other one, so I'm only going to show the one that I like. There's none of that. It's simply a mirror. Your experience externally, what you have you will experience externally what you have accepted internally as true. So again, another quote from Neville, man's outer world is his inner world objectified. Everything you hold as real within yourself must show up as form in your world. It's not personal. It's not punishment. The mirror is just being a mirror, which is all the mirror knows how to be. So it's not personal. I mean, it's by design. It's actually for you. It's actually for you to see you, right? So keeping that in mind too, not seeing it as a punishment, not seeing your reflection as a punishment is only going to help you. If you think like this is a punishment because I was wrong or bad, that's something else to look at, because you're not wrong or bad. When you assume something to be true, you actually fuse with that state. Your assumptions are so powerful. And consciousness, being creative, reflects back that state through people, events, and opportunities that show up in your outer world. That's why the version of you who believes, I always get chosen, or money flows easily to me, or I'm safe and supported always, will automatically start experiencing a world that confirms those beliefs. The mirror doesn't ask, Are you sure this is what you want? No, it doesn't do that. It simply reflects back what you say is true and what you deeply believe is true. Now, here's the tricky part. When something we don't like appears in the reflection, we have a tendency to panic, to react. We start believing it and we start to think that it's real and true. You know, this reflection of something that we don't like. We panic simply because we think it's true. We might even start affirming harder or, panic affirming or doubting more, spiraling, whatever. So many things can happen when we see an unwanted reflection. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, at least some of these things, if not all of these things that I'm listing here sounds familiar. I know it sounded familiar to me when I was learning all of this too. And, I personally would even think things like, this means I failed. My manifestation isn't working. What am I doing wrong, right? These were some very common things that I would think on my own journey. But the important thing to remember here is that the mirror doesn't change instantly. There's a time delay between your inner shift and the outer reflection catching up to it. And there's often a purge of the old story or the old belief. And that purge is what I like to call a check-in. It's checking in to make sure that you're ready to shift into this new assumption that you've been committed to. Because that's when you'll likely see the opposites. Once you've been committed to your new assumption, that's when the opposites show up, which again throws a lot of people off. The opposite showing up is not the universe saying no. It's the safety switch, like I like to call it on this channel. It's, checking in with you before this shift happens in your reality, just checking in one more time. Showing you the thing that you used to believe and just, here it is. You used to believe in this thing. Are you sure you don't still believe it? So that's what opposites are. It's showing up as a question. And your only job is to hold steady on your new assumption, to not give in to this thing. And again, the foundation of doing this is not denial, suppression, delusion. That's not the basis for doing this. The basis for doing this is knowing what's happening and knowing that that's a reflection. That doesn't have the power, right? We can't give the outer reflection the power. We can't transfer it over because then if we think it has power, it's telling us something, it's telling us what's possible, then we're going to react. Try not to. It'll be a, test of your will to try and do that. So this time delay is like turning a giant ship around into a new direction, right? So the ship is going to turn. It is turning, actually. It's just so giant that, it takes time. It takes time for the whole vessel to get headed in the right direction. It's not that it's not turning. It's turning right away. The moment you redirect the giant ship, it's turning, just like your reality is. The moment you commit to your new assumption, it's turning. It's turning. You may not be able to see it right away because it's giant. It's a giant ship, just like your reality is giant. So it's going to change your outer reality if you're consistent and you stay the course. And again, you do this by knowing how all of this works. But if you get wobbly, if you get thrown off course because 3D hasn't shifted yet, then you'll likely get your giant ship all off course before it had time to catch up to you, to the new direction. And this is where persistence comes in. Neville said, persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. He didn't say, peek at the mirror every 10 minutes to check if it's working. No, he didn't say that. You persist because you know the reflection has no choice. Again, this is the foundation for not reacting and for persisting. You have to know it's a reflection. And reflections do what reflections do, which is reflect, right? Reflections don't direct, they don't call the shots, they don't have an opinion, they don't have a final say. No, reflections do what reflections do. They reflect, and you have to remember that and understand that. So you persist because you know the reflection has no choice but to follow you, and you persist for how long? Is it a day? Is it an hour? Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? No, not any of those. You persist until your assumption hardens into fact, until it shows up in the external, not a moment sooner. So let's take a real world example here. Let's say you're manifesting a specific person. You've been affirming love, visualizing the connection, feeling confident, feeling loved, feeling happy, but then they pull away in the 3D reality, or they act cold. Most people take that as evidence against their manifestation. They think it's not working, or it's not possible, or your SP is impossible, or they just can't do it. You know, all of these things are very common to think. But through the mirror principle, you will start to see it differently. That pull away is simply the echo of your old state, still reflecting beliefs like, I'm not chosen, they will always leave. And the moment you stop reacting to the reflection and instead you stay true to your new chosen assumption, of your new preference of who you are and how this dynamic operates, you're changing the mirror reflection in front of you, right? So the moment you stop reacting, you will change everything. You have to stop reacting. When you react, you reconfirm that old story. So you don't want to react. So when you stop reacting and you stay committed to your new preference, guess what happens? It has to follow you because, again, it's just a mirror, and mirrors do what mirrors do, which is reflect. And this applies to everything. This applies to money, success, health, relationships, people, everything. The 3D can only mirror what you assume yourself to be. So if you want the reflectant to shift, the real work isn't out there. It's in the quiet moments, the self-concept you occupy, the conversations you repeat in your mind, and the emotional tone you dwell in when no one is around, when nothing is happening. So let's talk about how you apply this in your daily life and start living from this awareness of the mirror principle. So first of all, we want to observe without reacting. When something undesirable shows up, pause and remind yourself, this is the echo of the old. It's simply a reflection of who I was and what I was believing. It's not who I am becoming now or who I said I am now. And step number 2, shift the inner conversation. Instead of affirming against what you don't want, begin speaking from the new identity. I am loved. I am chosen. Everything always works out for me for my highest and best. Feel the relief and the certainty that comes from already being that version. Step number 3 is persist until the reflection matches, right? Not a moment sooner. And not because someone told you like you can manifest in 24 hours, so I'm only going to persist 24 hours. Please don't do that. You persist until your reality shifts. Do yourself a favor and persist until your reality shifts. It can shift quickly. I'm not saying that it can't. But with this mindset that you will persist until it shows up, you stop needing to check, right? You don't need to check the mirror. You become calm and rooted in your knowing of how this all works. So you can go ahead and live from your end, even though you can't see it yet in the reflection. The reflection will adjust when you no longer need it to, right? Remember, the mirror doesn't lie, but it also doesn't lead. You lead. You have to go first, always. So when you really grasp this concept, life becomes much more peaceful. You stop fighting with the reflection. You stop chasing the validation or the signs that it's working because you understand it was never the mirror's job to change first. Your job is simply to remember who you are, the operant power, and one reality responds to. You are the one that reality responds to. And when that clicks, manifestation stops being a technique and becomes your natural state of being. That's what it means to be the operant power and live in the wish fulfilled. So if you're ready to stop trying to fix the reflection, we have to stop this, right? This is the biggest mistake that I see so many people making. And again, I'm not blaming, I'm not pointing fingers. I was there too. And I needed help and I needed coaching to lean on to get me out of that. Because again, this is so different from what we've always operated from. So if you're ready to get out of this, habit of trying to fix the reflection and trying to make things happen and skipping over yourself, and you're ready to finally transform the inside from the inside out, that's exactly what I do in my one-on-one transformative coaching program. This isn't surface level affirmations or manifestation techniques. It's deep identity work where we dissolve the old programming and rebuild your self-concept that naturally manifests love, success, and peace, all of it. You'll walk away from this month embodied, no longer chasing your desires, but effortlessly attracting them because you've become the version of you who actually already has them. So you can find the link down below. There's also a link to book a call with me, a consultation call. If you have questions, if you're not sure, I won't be able to offer this for forever, but I am for a limited time. So definitely book that call while you have the opportunity. If you're ready to sign up, then please, by all means, go ahead and sign up. And thank you all so much for watching. Leave me a comment. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.